liftoff and the clock has started.
Welcome to episode 13 of the Tesla Time Podcast, the UK Tesla Unofficial Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Winter, and on this week's show, we take a look at all the upcoming products set for release in the world of Tesla. We have FSD 10 updates, we have Roadster news, we talk battery sagas, we'll talk about UK healthcare related Tesla news, we've got a new app in our pocket, loads to discuss along with much, much more. Stick with me because it's that time again. It's Tesla time. Tesla time indeed. You join me on Thursday the 2nd of September as I record this. Although this will be rolling out on Friday. So Friday the 3rd of September it will be rolling out to all podcast streaming platforms. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Now, last week we delved into all things AI Day. So if you missed it, head over to episode 12 for all the clips, content and headlines from the event. This week we have a ton of news to get through and your time is the most important thing. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, first up this week, new Tesla Standard Range Plus shipping with Shanghai batteries. So Teslarati picked up on this week and they wrote an article saying the following, quote, Tesla is giving Model 3 Standard Range Plus reservation holders the opportunity to get their vehicles sooner. For early delivery, Tesla owners can opt to receive a Model 3 Standard Range Plus equipped with a lithium iron phosphate battery pack instead. As of writing this, January is the estimated delivery date of the Standard Range Plus in North America. However, base Tesla Model 3 reservation holders could receive their vehicle as early as September if they opt to take this battery pack change. The one difference between the base Model 3 made in Tesla's Fremont factory in America and Tesla's China Model 3 made in Shanghai would be their battery packs. Now, Fremont's, i.e. America's Model 3 Standard Range Plus, is equipped with a nickel-based battery cell, whilst Tesla's China Model 3 uses this LFP pack, lithium iron phosphate pack, end quote. Now, the reason for this, overarching reason here is due to part shortages and supply constraints, which, by the way, the entire world is suffering from at the moment. But this battery change, let me just give you the numbers. And I want to be really clear here because you might see a lot of negativity around this. A lot of the fudsters are saying, oh, Tesla are dropping the range and stuff like this. So just listen to this. So nickel batteries, which is the original batteries that North American order holders were getting, we're going to have a mile range of 263, okay? The offer to change to lithium ion batteries, right, that gives you a new mile range of 253. So a 10-mile reduction in range to get your car earlier. Now, this is being twisted, as I mentioned, as a negative story. Tesla reducing the range of the Standard Range Plus, etc., etc., which is not true, okay? And the reason it's not true, or not accurate, I should say, is twofold. Number one, Tesla are simply offering this, right? It's an offer. You don't have to accept it, but it's a way of getting your Model 3 to you earlier, which, yes, Tesla want to do to bolster their Q3 earnings. I mean, in fact, if lead times are January, to bolster their annual earnings, but also people want to get their new shiny Tesla, right? So that's fair enough. Secondly, and most importantly, okay, and I want to be really clear here, the nickel batteries are designed to charge at 80 to 90%. So the battery that was meant to be in the car is meant to be is designed to charge to 80 to 90%, and you only charge it to 100% ad hoc when you're going on road trips or whatever. Whereas the LFP battery, the lithium iron phosphate battery, which is the pack that they're giving you the option to choose instead, is designed to charge regularly to 100%. So if you charge it to 100% every day, you're not going to see any long-term degradation in the battery's availability, basically, and performance. Now, I think overall, actually, this is not a negative thing, and I think, in fact, it's a positive thing. And if I was waiting for my Model 3 today, I'd want to be offered this, right? That's not to say I would definitely take it. It obviously depends on everyone's personal situation and, if they're willing to wait and, if they have, I don't know, a car lease that's going to run out in time, whatever. Everyone's situation is different, but I would want to have the offer in front of me so that I could choose. However, the key here is, are Tesla, right, doing a good enough job at rebuking these negative headlines, at fighting back and basically just communicating what the reality of the situation here is? And here lies the problem of Tesla having no PR or no marketing department. Basically, it means it's really hard for the business to respond. And yes, Elon has tweeted about it this week, saying, effective something along the lines of he'd prefer the iron battery, i.e. he would take up the offer if he had to make the choice. But you've got to think, the Standard Range Plus, and by the way, what I'm about to say is generalizing massively, right? But the Standard Range Plus is bought by a lot of people that aren't massively into Tesla, right? They hear about Tesla from word of mouth. They think they look cool. They think they sound cool. And they're jumping in at, the lowest barrier of entry, i.e. the cheapest car that Tesla make. So with that in mind, there's going to be a lot of people buying these batteries, or buying these cars, not knowing much about the battery technology under the hood. And this could be, a slightly daunting choice to make. They might not understand that, the battery pack that they were scheduled to have can only charge to 80% regularly, whereas this new one can charge to 100. So, are Tesla doing enough to say, listen, this is your choice. You don't have to choose it, but we're just trying to get you your car sooner. And by the way, this new battery pack can charge to 100% regularly with no performance degradation. All they're seeing is an email from Tesla effectively saying, for 10 miles less range, you can have your car delivered sooner, which obviously doesn't necessarily sound great. But anyway, I'd want the option, and Tesla should be shouting from the rooftops that the reality of this situation is not as negative as it may seem. Rant over, sorry. You never know when a news story is going to turn into a rant, and sometimes I don't even notice it's happening, so I do apologise about that. Anyway, let's talk about something a lot more positive, and that is we all have a new Tesla app in our pockets, or at least on our phones. Now, I'm excited to talk about this, mainly because this is something that affects everyone in the world of Tesla, in the Tesla community. It's not a staggered rollout like so many of Tesla's, FSD products or even car products. You think about the Model S is only available, all that stuff. Model Y, why didn't it, isn't available in the UK still. This has rolled out globally, and Electrek reported on this week. Now, I might be the last person to talk about this on the planet. That's certainly how it feels. Unfortunately, the app update rolled out just as I was wrapping up the AI Day episode last week, and I couldn't squeeze it in time, so I do apologise about the timing, etc. But anyway, Electrek had this to say this week, quote, Tesla is releasing today, so last week now, version 4 of its mobile app, and it has a significant improvement to the user interface as well as a ton of new features. The Tesla mobile app has been an important asset for the automaker. Owners managed most of their ownership experience through the app. It serves as a key to unlock Tesla vehicles, manage climate control, and much, much more. In more recent years, the automaker has also included the service experience inside the app. The app truly highlights the level of connectivity that you can find in Tesla vehicles. Today, Tesla has released the latest version 4.0 of its mobile app, and it might be the biggest update to date. It includes a complete UI refresh, giving the app a new look and a more streamlined experience for people who may own Tesla products, whether it be cars or energy products, end quote. So, first and foremost, if you do not have the new update revised app, then head over to the Google Play Store or the App Store on Apple iPhone and download the update if you've not already done so. In terms of functionality, let's start there. Not a massive change. They've done away with the open charge port button, and now you just hit the that lightning bolt symbol and it will kind of open it. It will open it for you, so it kind of saves a tap. Loading has seemed to have disappeared, which is amazing. So in the last version of the app, and I actually read up on this week, if you click, say, climate, right, the app will load, it will connect to your car, and then the screen on your phone would come to life for you to choose your action. Now, what they've done cleverly is they've kind of swapped the order, the process order that happens. So now you click on climate, the screen on your phone loads immediately, and then in the background, as you're choosing the action that you want the car to make, the app and the car are syncing kind of in the background. So the command will then shoot off once connected, and by then you can already be on your way with your phone kind of locked and back in your pocket. So it's a lot slicker and a lot smoother and just feels a lot more punchy and fast. Also, by the way, I'm hearing from the community that it's made a huge improvement in multi-Tesla households, which unfortunately I am not one. But where previously you'd have to swipe to the right, you'd have to swipe right and left to choose the Tesla that you want to unlock, so that it will only auto unlock the Tesla vehicle that you have selected on your app. So you had to swipe to change it, which actually now what they've done is basically both cars will unlock as you get closer. You don't have to swipe, right? So and there's a lot of multi-Tesla households that are saying this is fantastic, and they've been calling for it for a long time, which actually I think is going to be a huge benefit eventually for us here in Europe. You got to kind of think that as the Model Y begins to roll out, you're going to have a lot of potentially Model 3 owners or Model S owners that are going out and picking one up for the more family car, a larger car. So I think multi-Tesla household functionality improvements is a good thing to see. Now, in terms of the other changes, the UI looks a lot nicer. The animations and smoothness are hugely improved. So as the animation transitions to a different view of the vehicle, it's just smooth and buttery. So that's great. And actually, don't forget, I mentioned this before, that with the supercharger network eventually opening up, you're going to have a lot of non-Tesla owners with the app on their phone. Now, everyone loved the Tesla app and has done. It's one of the fundamental features of owning a Tesla, right? But really, you love it for all the features and functionality it has with your car and the connectivity it has with your car. If you imagine having the app but not having the car, all of a sudden you kind of think, yeah, it did kind of need a refresh. It looked quite dated. It needed a fresh lick of paint. And I've got to think that Tesla are opening up superchargers as a marketing play. So, don't get me wrong, there's loads of other benefits to opening up the superchargers for the company, but marketing is certainly one. And now Tesla are going to want people in non-Tesla EVs going into a supercharger and having a general positive experience, whether that be with the app as they activate their charge, at the stalls, or with the speed of their charge, etc., etc. And that old clunky app just wasn't, it just felt to me like it wasn't really ever going to cut it. So this is a welcome change, and people are going to, open the Tesla app and they're going, oh, this is a nice place to be. Now, one other thing to note on this before I move on, the font in the app has changed. And you're thinking, geez, how is that news? But basically, the reason why that is news is that the font in the new app matches the new UI in the Model S Plaid. So they now have the same font. Now, Elon has talked about, Teslas in general needing a UI overhaul, I think he called it. And this could be the start of that UI refresh in the heritage Model S's, the 3s, the Ys, and the X's, etc. I'd certainly welcome a new UI, especially as, for me personally, one of my big gripes with the most recent UI update in the Tesla, in the non-Model S Plaids and long-range Teslas, is that there's just a lot of blank white space, right? There's a lot of screen real estate that is taking up with whiteness. So widgets and movable windows would be lovely. Let's wait and see. But the fact that the font matches, maybe I'm clutching at straws here, but hopefully that's a good sign for a new UI incoming. Local healthcare company votes Tesla. This one is extremely exciting and close to my heart because it's all about my local area, my local county. So indulge me for a second here. The Daily Echo Southern, with not quite the New York Times, but still, it's my local newspaper, reported this week the following, quote, a Hampshire healthcare company is set to become the first in the country to trial Tesla cars for their out-of-hours service. PHL is set to trial a Tesla Model 3 car in their fleet to assess the benefits of upgrading their GP home visiting fleet of cars. They will be the first medical service in the UK to be assessing Tesla cars, following in the footsteps of other emergency response services such as the UK Police Force. Ross Brand, PHL CEO, said, "The impact of climate change is real, and every company should be evaluating what they can do to reduce their impact on the environment. As an industry-leading company, PHL embraces new technology, and for this reason I'm excited to see how the Tesla performs when it joins our fleet of cars. We'll certainly be testing the range of the vehicle as our drivers clock up hundreds of miles per shift. We hope to inspire other companies to consider the switch to electric cars." End quote. Well, first and foremost, PHL, Ross Brand, well done. This is fantastic, and you guys know this. I love these kind of stories. This makes me very happy indeed. Not only is it great that yet another UK public service is choosing to evaluate Teslas within their fleet, but a public service that is right on my doorstep, right on the Tesla Time podcast doorstep. So that is fantastic. And I can guarantee you, Ross, or anyone from PHL listening, I can guarantee you that you will definitely recognise significant benefits in emissions, fuel savings, tax savings, general positivity from the community, but also the public will benefit too, right? These cars, as he mentions, they're quick and nippy, ideal for a local healthcare company that wants to get around with ease, comfort, and speed. But also, don't forget, they're quiet, they're silent, and PHL are an out-of-hours GP service. So you don't want a big 4x4 rumbling down your road at 3 a.m. You want a quiet, nimble, economically friendly, beautiful Tesla Model 3. So all in all, you can tell I'm biased here. All in all, a real good story, and I love reading these. So well done, PHL. An interesting article was written this week. Check this one out. Tesla Model 3 leads Europe electric sales as competitor range claims wilt. Neil Winton, reporter for Forbes, posted this article this week, which read as follows, quote, "The Tesla Model 3 is the fastest selling electric car in Western Europe, thanks in part to its strong range claims, while distance boasts from its competitors wilt under examination. That leadership Tesla have is coming under pressure, led by Volkswagen and its army of brands. The competition is sharpening its electric car engineering and seeking technology improvements to match and perhaps overtake Tesla. Teslas are not threatened by mass market brands yet, but that might happen in the medium term if the company decides to expand into cheaper price brackets. At least in the short term, it looks as though impressive range will set it apart from the opposition. The Model 3's overall market leadership is surprising, given it is much pricier than the number 2 VW ID3 and sometimes 3 times the price as the little Renault Zoe. According to Schmidt Automotive Research, in the first 7 months of 2021, Tesla sold 66,000 Model 3s, almost twice as many as second place VW ID3's 35,000. Although over the next 5 years, VW will spend $55 billion electrifying its cars and SUVs across all of its brands. End quote. First of all, give this a Google, because I think this is a fantastic article coming from Neil Winton, who has the point of view of someone who is completely unbiased. He doesn't, I don't know what he drives, but it's clearly a very unbiased article. He does a great job of recognizing Tesla's strengths and doffing the cap to those, but also he points out the weaknesses and the issues in the brand. It's great to hear Tesla's dominance within Europe, but even better in this article is the fact that Neil talks about what other car manufacturers are having to do or are trying to do to try and catch up with Tesla's dominance. And this is what we want to be seeing. We want to be seeing, we want Tesla to succeed so that other car manufacturers begin cycles of innovation and development in this space in an effort to catch up and overtake. And interestingly enough, there's this really interesting table that kind of outlines the real world range, because the mainstream going through the article is, Tesla are dominant, but why is that? And one of the main reasons is the range truths, right? So let me get up this article here. Here we go. So this is a huge strength for Tesla because of their efficiencies, right? The real world versus EPA range debate, and all that stuff. So for Tesla, if you compare real world versus EPA range, so when I say EPA range, that's the sticker range, right? This car will do 360 miles or whatever. That's fine, but what does it actually do? A bit like, if there's anyone listening that doesn't have an EV, it's a bit like miles to the gallon. So this car will do 60 miles to the gallon. Yeah, all right. What will it actually do? Real world miles to the gallon. So there is always a difference between those things, right? Now, from a Tesla Model 3 perspective, the difference is only 5%, i.e. the ticketed EPA range versus real world range only differs by 5%. Whereas some of the cars here are like 25%. I mean, here we go. The Mini Electric, right? Marketed range of 145 miles, okay? Real world range, 98.5 miles. That is a 32% difference. I mean, that's in and around false marketing, isn't it? So, yeah, a long way for the competition to go. But soon, they'll be able to plug into the supercharger network, and hopefully with legislation changes coming up, we'll see more and more investment and therefore improvement in the EV competition space. Now, Neil wraps up by asking whether or not Tesla will be safe from competition in the next 5 years. And he says, quote, VW is relentlessly building up its electric vehicle range as ID4 SUV gathers momentum. BMW plans 4 new electric cars in the next 2 years, including an electric 7 and 5 Series and XI compact SUV. Other Europeans are following suit as they seek to explore and improve battery technology. And meanwhile, CEO Elon Musk has dropped hints Tesla might move down market and make a smaller vehicle for the European market, end quote. So Model 2, he's talking about there. So lots to be excited about. And like I say, people think, how do you feel about the Hyundai Ioniq 5? I've been asked that a couple of times on the email. Like, that's a good thing. That's what we want to be seeing. And that Elon's talked about that. He wants to be ahead so that he can drag the other car manufacturers along with him, and they'll all want to catch up with him, which is starting to come to fruition now. And we can see that with VW's, Volkswagen's investment in this industry. So good news there. Go and check that article out. If you go onto Forbes or just Google it, you'll be able to find it. Neil, let me get his name right. Neil Winton was the reporter on that one. So yeah, go check that out. It's a great article. A little peek behind the Tesla Time podcast curtain here. Every week, I go through all the news and all the media outlets that are out there, and I kind of collate the week's stories. And I give I collate my thoughts on those stories, and I get in my head like an idea of what the show is going to look like that week, etc. And just before I hit the record button, I go onto Twitter, and I'm not a big Twitter user, so I only really have it for Tesla related news, really, and a couple of footballers and stuff. But anyway, I go onto Twitter, and I look at what Elon's been saying, and sure enough, he always says something. I think, okay, I've now got to fit that into the show. I kind of feel like we should have like an Elon Twitter segment in the Tesla Time podcast, because it's that often that it happens. Now, the first Elon Twitter story this week is that FSD Beta 10 will begin rolling out and has been given a date. So Elon has taken to Twitter this week to provide an update on FSD Beta 10, saying, quote, FSD Beta 10 rolls out midnight Friday next week, end quote. So that will be Friday the 3rd. So that will be Friday the 10th of September, that will be. Or midnight, so Saturday the 11th. And that will be in the US. Now, the beta versions keep rolling out. Interestingly enough, last week Elon caused a bit of a commotion because he referred to beta 9.2 that he'd been running in his car as, quote, not great in a tweet last week. He did then clarify 24 hours later that he'd done a long journey on beta 9.3, so 0.1 upgrade, and that was, quote, much improved. Although I kind of get the feeling that he probably got some heated emails from fellow execs at Tesla kind of saying, don't just slag off our products on Twitter. But anyway, now, at the recent AI Day event, at the end of the event, guests were able to test ride in two things. They were able to go into a Model S Plaid and do a couple of launches, obviously 0 to 61.9 seconds. And they were also able to hop into an FSD-enabled vehicle. And the general feedback is very impressive, and people were kind of taken aback by how good it was. Now, a reporter that I know that was at the event did ask the driver that day whether this was a beta 9.2 or it was beta 9.3 build, or it was a more advanced build that isn't quite out yet, to which the Tesla employee confirmed it was the latter. So something that was, they had cooking, but they hadn't released yet, even to the beta community. So I would assume, and this is an assumption, that was probably beta 10, which suggests why there was so much positivity and buzz around it. So a couple of things. Firstly, if Tesla are to be believed here, beta 10 is going to be yet another impressive shift in the capability of FSD. So that is exciting. But biggest of all, Elon took to Twitter today, literally just before recording this, to say, quote, "Looks promising that beta 10.1 about 2 weeks later will be good enough for public opt-in request button," end quote. The button. So this is huge. I think mainly for the US listeners that this will be of use. If you have the FSD package enabled on your car, according to Elon, you will be able to hit eventually an opt-in button that will give everyone who has those cars access to the beta 10 build. Now, I won't read you all his tweets and replies on this, but even Elon is expressing a severe level of caution here. We're now in and around the time of high risk. Things could go hugely wrong. And like I've said before, you give the best tool in the world to all the people, someone's going to get hurt somewhere. And this is all under the cloud of an ongoing NHTSA investigation that we reported week before last on episode 11, I think it was. So caution and safety seem to be absolute paramount messages coming out of Tesla, and they're going to do this very carefully. I expect to see a whole bunch of warnings and T&Cs and sign your life away when you hit that opt-in button. But it seems like just last week we were talking about when will beta 9 be rolling out. We're now already a week away from beta 10. We're on 9.3. So things are moving faster than ever, and things like Dojo, as reported in AI Day episode last week, are only going to improve that pace, which is awesome. We are still in the world of this is a driver assist. We're not level 4 autonomy yet, but we're definitely getting closer, and each step is a step closer to full autonomy, which is very exciting indeed. Giga Berlin word of caution. Stian Walgermo, I really apologise if I got that wrong, but Walgermo on Twitter this week shared a post around the fact that 71.9% of all cars sold in August 2021 in Norway were EVs, which just alone is fantastic news. But Elon responded with a small nod to the impending launch of Giga Berlin. Elon said, quote, "I was in the Berlin paint shop talking to the team on my last visit. It's going to be great. But bear in mind that it takes about a year for a new factory to reach volume production. Production is super hard work, which is why I have great respect for those who do it." End quote. So we know he was over in Germany because, of course, the Tesla Time podcast followed his every move whilst over there, as we're super hyped for Giga Berlin factory coming online. But Elon is offering, again, a word of caution, or at least tempering expectations. We know production is hard, and with a new factory, it's going to take a time to ramp upwards. However, Giga Shanghai did it extremely fast and extremely well, and I have high hopes for Giga Berlin. I would say that now Tesla have done this a few times, bought a bit of land, built a factory on it, and begun producing cars, out of that factory. They're starting to get pretty sharp on it. Now, the reason he mentions the paint shop is because K10 on Twitter made a reference to the fact that she was looking forward to seeing some new paint colours coming out of Giga Berlin, which has been, rumoured and at this stage is just hearsay. And if you think currently we have white, black, blue, what have we got? Grey and a red. So, a lot of the community are screaming out for a new colourway option. I think Crimson Red seems to be the favourite in terms of rumours and speculation to be announced or released. So let's wait and see. I think that would be really cool. Do you know what? And, don't go mad here. I think yellow. Typically I'm not a big fan of yellow cars, but something about a yellow Tesla. Maybe it's because I've been seeing the New York Tesla Model 3 taxis that have been rolling out. And I don't know, yellow could have something. Burnt orange is in at the moment. Maybe like an electric blue or like a green. Anyway, there's lots of colours out there that Tesla aren't doing. And this is going to be one of the most advanced paint shops in the world at Giga Berlin and Giga Texas, by the way. So, we're hoping to see not only improvements in quality control and quality assurance, but also in options for colours. So let's wait and see. Last story for you this week, and oh my god, we're already over the 30-minute mark. All right, let's do this one quickly. We have a Tesla Roadster update. So Elon has responded to Aaron S5, who's been asking for a Roadster update on Twitter this week. And by the way, this is Tesla's supercar that they're looking to produce. Interestingly enough, this car was announced what was it now, 4 years ago or something crazy like that. And Elon will often bat questions away around the Roadster with things like, it isn't the focus right now. It doesn't hugely help towards Tesla's mission statement and all that stuff. But as we discussed last week, he's wheeled out the Tesla bot, which doesn't either relate to Tesla's mission statement. So maybe there's a little bit of wiggle room on the mission statement now. And he's kind of feeling, okay, I'm going to have to give an update. So this is what he said. Quote, 2021 has been a year of super crazy supply chain shortages, so it wouldn't matter if we had 17 new products as none of them would ship. Assuming 2022 is not mega drama, new Roadster should ship in 2023, end quote. So, Roadster 2023. Now, I think this is best case, like most of Elon's timelines. And if you are one of the lucky ones to have a Roadster via a Roadster order via the referral program, or you have the means to be able to afford one and are looking to buy one, I personally wouldn't hold your breath for 2023. I think this feels like a 2024 car, or at least the end of 2023. But right now, the latest from Elon is 2023, so that's what we'll go off of. The part shortages he's referring to, though, are rumoured to go on well into 2022. The backlogs for S's and X's and Cybertrucks, and all those backlogged orders, they're only, building and growing. So that's going to be crazy. We still need the Model X refresh to roll off the line. So, there's so much to get through, as well as all the other stuff. So, I don't know. I think 2023 is wishful thinking, but, that's the update we're getting. Now, I've got to think, just quickly, on the Roadster itself, we're going to need some sort of proper re-release almost of the Roadster. The exterior will almost definitely need refreshing because it's been in the public domain for so long. By the way, let me be clear here. I think it looks unbelievably gorgeous, right? Let me just say that right off the top. But instinctively, you kind of think it looks old because we've been looking at it for 4 years. So the public subconsciously is seeing an old car, if that makes sense. So that's going to need refreshing. Also, we need a performance update because the 5-seat family saloon Model S Plaid kind of has the performance that the Roadster was slated for, that sub 2 second 0 to 60. So we're going to need a performance update. I know Elon has mentioned in interviews and in passing that, it's going to be better. It's going to hover. It's going to have rocket jets and all this stuff, but we need an official update. And I think we'll get that nearer the time. Don't forget, the Roadster was designed to be the end of the debate, okay? When the Roadster comes out, it will go further than any other ICE vehicle, it will go faster than any other ICE vehicle, and it will certainly be cheaper to run than any other ICE vehicle. There will be no metric that it doesn't beat the best internal combustion engine super or hypercar, right? It's just the end of the debate. However, where does that leave all the other products? So, I kind of thought this would be a nice way not only to wrap up the show, but just to do a bit of a level set on where we are today, okay? So this is rough and tough, and this is kind of current timeline. So it's almost like as soon as I read this out, it's almost then old news because, things change so fast in the world of Tesla, as you know. But as of right here today, as of recording, okay, we have the Model 3, we have the Model Y, and we have the new Model S long range and plaid, which is staggering a little bit because of the part shortages problem. But in the short term, that's going to be sorted. So let's say that we've got the 3, the Y, and the new S. By the end of this year, I think it's November right now, if I remember correctly, in North America at least, we should start seeing the refreshed Model X rolling off the line, okay? Then, slated for 2022, early on, you have the next-gen Model Y with the 3680 battery chemistry and the structural battery pack. We have the Cybertruck coming out next year, and we also have the Semi potentially coming out in 2022. Cyber and Semi are meant to be kind of later on in the year. And if rumours are to be believed, then potentially Tesla's new most affordable EV, quote, Model 2, air quotes, is ahead of schedule. And the rumours are that's going to begin rolling out in China in 2022. Okay. And then you have the Roadster in 2023. So end of 2021, you have the 3, the Y, the refreshed S and X. End of 22, you have the 3, the Y, the S, the X, the Cybertruck, the Semi, and maybe a Model 2. And then by the end of 2023, you have the 3, the Y, the S, the X, the Cybertruck, the Semi, maybe the Model 2, and the Roadster. I mean, wow, that is a forecourt. You imagine walking into Tesla at the end of 2023 and you've got those cars laid out. That is a forecourt right there. And that's why we do this show, because that is just super exciting indeed. Thank you so much for listening. That about does it for this week's episode of the Tesla Time Podcast. If you want to get in contact with the show, you can send your emails in to teslatimepodcast@gmail.com. Your feedback and responses are extremely valued, so thank you so much for those of you that have already done that. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good week, and I will catch you next week with even more Tesla-related news. Stay safe. Peace.